Hi everyone, I'm Anjali Jagwani, paper 4, CA Foundation, that is business laws and business correspondence and reporting. Now, business laws, what is this? That is the laws which are made for businesses to be run according to the rules and principles, according to the acts which are being made by the parliament. So over here, when different acts that together come in, those are business laws that we are going to study over here. Now, the first chapter, the first law that we are going to study, the first act is the Indian Contract Act 1872. So over here, the Indian Contract Act 1872, we are speaking about right now. Now, this act, which is there, that is the Indian Contract Act 1872, it came into force on September 1, 1872. The preamble to the act is that it is an act to define and amend certain parts of the law relating to contract. So anything that is defining, amending certain parts of law relating to any contract. Now, what is this contract? There are different types of contracts which we enter into in day-to-day life, such as indemnity contract, guarantee contract, giving bailment, pledge, agency contracts. Such kinds of contract are governed by Indian Contract Act 1872. Now over here, what is a contract? We'll first see. So under section 2 subsection H of Indian Contract Act 1872, that is the contract is defined under section 2 subsection H. Now I want to tell you that under Indian Contract Act, every definition will be defined under section 2. Subsection will be different, but section 2 will be common. So now that is the contract which is defined under section 2 subsection H of the Indian Contract Act 1872 says that a contract is an agreement enforceable by law. Now, what does this agreement means? Let us first see. Agreement given in section 2E. Now, as I said further, that the section will be 2, subsection will change for the definition. So, agreement defined under section 2, subsection E of the Act is defined as every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. So, it could be one promise. When there's an agreement, it could be one promise. It could be every set of promises. There could be different promises coming together and forming the consideration for each other. Now, there's in any contract, there needs to be consideration. That is the money or a kind, whatever is going to be exchanged, the consideration that is going to be exchanged, that should also be given. And what is the promise that should also be specified very clearly. So an agreement over here we have that is given definition in section 2 subsection E. Once again I'm saying that is every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. To have an insight into the definition of agreement, we need to understand promise. Now they are saying again the definition of promise. Again you see section 2 subsection B. As I said, section 2 will be common for any definition. So as you have to remember over here that contract definition was 2 subsection H. Agreement subsection is E. 2 subsection E is for agreement and 2 subsection B is for promise. Defines promise is when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto to the proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal when accepted becomes a promise. Section 2 subsection B defines promise as when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Now, first, what is happening over here? That is a proposal is made. This and this thing can be done. Then to whom it is made signifies his assent. He says, okay, yes, his assent is given on that proposal which is made to him. Now the proposal becomes accepted once the assent is given. Now this accepted proposal becomes promise. So proposal when accepted becomes a promise. So over here, once again, we will read that is promise, which is defined under section 2 subsection B. That is when the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal when accepted becomes a promise. So the following points emerge from the above definition. When the person to whom the proposal is made, suppose A is making a proposal to B that I will sell you a horse for rupees 50,000. Now B signifies his assent on that proposal, which is made to him that, okay, I am ready to give you 50,000 for the horse. And now when the proposal is accepted, both the parties are agreeing to the terms, that is the same terms. That is, horse is only going to be sold and it is going to be sold for the same amount. When this is happening, that is, the proposal becomes accepted, then it becomes a promise. Proposal becomes a promise. Thus, we say that an agreement is the result of the proposal made by one party to the other party, and that other party gives its acceptance thereto, of course, for mutual consideration. So agreement is proposal plus acceptance is agreement. Now, enforceability by law. An agreement to become a contract must give rise to a legal obligation, which means duly enforceable by law. So contract is nothing but accepted proposal or agreement plus enforceability by law. So now this accepted proposal, that is the promise which was made by A to B for the horse, that becomes an agreement when it is accepted. That proposal become agreement. Now when enforceable by law, when it has come onto the terms of the written document which is enforceable by law, then that becomes a contract. So now over here, basically what I was trying to explain today in this video is the contract and agreement. Let's just see a basic difference between agreement and contract. So agreement is every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. Don't forget the section 2 subsection E is where agreement is defined. That is every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other, offer plus acceptance. And the contract, which is defined under section 2 subsection H, agreement enforceable by law, that is agreement that is when becomes legally enforceable, it becomes a contract. Agreement, it's a wider term including both legal and social agreement. So agreement could be legal as well as any social agreement. Whereas when it comes to the contract, it becomes a narrow sense with the specification that contract is only legally enforceable agreement. So when agreement is also agreement when it is not legally enforceable, just you are agreeing socially between some people, I'll do this, I'll do that, that is also an agreement. But when it is legally enforced, only then it becomes a contract. That is when it is legally comes on the paper, that is stamp paper, then it becomes a contract. It may not create legal, okay, now here agreement may not create legal obligation, and agreement does not always grant rights to the parties. So what it is saying, that agreement does not always grant rights to the parties. Okay, and contract necessarily creates a legal obligation. A contract always grants certain rights to every party. All agreements are not contracts and all contracts are agreements. Now here the nature is saying that all agreements are not contracts, but all contracts are agreements, because when agreement becomes enforceable legally, it becomes contract. Whereas all agreements are not contracts, because in this also the social agreement is acceptable. That is what it is saying. Thank you.